Hello, 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 beautiful people. How are you today? Today is another episode of Relaxing Raunchy Relationship Podcast with me, Ingrid Galloway, with awesome guests. Always have awesome guests. Adrian hangs today. Adrian is a holistic health and well-being expert with over 20 years of experience as a counselor or psychotherapist, leading edge coach, facilitator, and trainer. He focuses on helping people to bring on more passion, purpose, and joy into their lives so they can live life to the full. Oh, I love that. And Adrian measures life with 10 key life aspects, which includes the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, along with financial, creative, social, vocational, sexual, and intimate. I think you cover everything in there, Adrian. Welcome to my podcast.
Wonderful. And Ingrid, it's just wonderful to be here on your podcast. KAHYANGAN. Hope I've said that correctly. Somewhere close.
It's close.
I think we'll put the spelling up there when we out to my network as well. So wonderful to be here. We've sort of been in touch a little bit, haven't we, over the last few months, and finally jumping on your podcast. So thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, finally collaborate with each other. It's good. It's good.
Absolutely. So wonderful to be here.
Wonderful. Okay. So my first question to you, Adrian, what is your why? I'm always curious, what is the why of my guest?
Yeah. Look, in terms of my why for my vocation,
Yep.
I call it my spiritual task almost.
Mm,
From my used to sort of call it my passion, my journey, my why. But for me, my spiritual task
mm,
is to help to bring more consciousness onto the planet. And if I can do that, one day at a time, one person at a time,
yes.
one community at a time, I feel like I'm actually fulfilling my spiritual task.
Oh, beautiful. Love that.
Yeah. Uh, and I can hear some beautiful sounds in the background.
That's it. I mean, I don't edit my podcast, right? So whatever is happening, I have two kids
Yeah,
and they often fight with each other. It's just kids being kids.
yeah,
That's all right.
yeah. But isn't that also why we do what we do? Because the next generations are coming through.
Yeah.
And for me, I've got 6 children, 4 grandchildren. And if I can help forge the way for them on the planet too, and I think this is what it's about being that generational leader, so we
Yeah,
can actually forge the path to make it a little bit easier for the next generations to come through.
that's right. And
Yeah.
wouldn't it be great if they
Yeah.
have passion,
And yeah,
purpose,
and
and
maybe,
joy like we do?
absolutely. And because I haven't heard it from your lips before, it's what's your why?
Right. I came here from Indonesia, so I came here by the age of 21 to marry my first husband. Unfortunately, it was an abusive relationship, so after 10 years, I left. After 3 attempts, I left. And during my self-healing journey, I went to a few therapists, went to a few self-development seminar, and kind of like shift my paradigm and become aware of new things that allow me to be myself, because my ex-husband tried to change me to be who I was not. So that didn't work. Not not very
Well,
successful.
well done for not letting that happen.
And then I went back to college to study counseling and life coaching, and straight away I knew that I would be a coach and my niche would be in relationship, because I am very passionate and compassionate to help others in similar sort of predicament. So whether they are broken-hearted singles wanting to heal and to find the new love, being the love magnet that they deserve to be, or they're in a relationship but having some sort of issue. Everybody has baggage, everybody has issue. Why don't we put our hand up and ask for support? So here I am.
Yeah, fantastic. That's wonderful. So, and
Now,
well done for going on the journey. What a great journey.
yes, yes. So I feel that I am completely healed because I have no resentment or anger towards my ex-husband. No, I love him unconditionally. So that's how I know that I'm completely healed. Yeah. So if I can do it, you can too.
Yep.
Yes. So, Adrian, I am quite passionate in helping men also. I mean,
Yeah.
my typical avatar, or if people don't know what avatar is, a target market, are actually couples, not just women or not just men, but actually both men and women. However, some of my guests maybe cover the tips a little bit more towards the feminine or female needs. So now, you're here. I really, really would love to hear your thoughts and your suggestions for men in particular on how to find their purpose and what are the benefits to live by it. Simply because if men is more conscious, they will attract better partner, and also they will be better partner. That's my assumption. Correct me if I'm wrong. So go for it.
No, very true. So a little bit like you, I love my relationship coaching with my couples. Um, in terms of the men, I've been in the men's space, working in men's circles, men's groups for over 25 years. So I've sat with hundreds or thousands of men in
Yeah.
that space. And a big part of the work I love doing is working specifically with men to support them in that relationship from the male perspective, of how to bring more consciousness into the relationship as a man. So I run a foundation called the Blue Rent Foundation, where we run workshops for men. And one of the key things we teach in that relationship education, Ingrid, is what we call the line in the sand.
Mm.
And this is teaching men of how to not step over that line in the sand, yeah, in a relationship, so that they're more present in that relationship. So it's about bringing more passion into the relationship,
Mm.
remembering to set up the dates, remembering to bring the flowers, remembering to be tactile, remembering to set up the massage times for the intimate space. So it's about how, as men, do we keep the passion alive? Because a big trigger for men, and I want to share this quite openly here for the men, is what happens to us men generally. I'm being generic, but what happens often is we maybe are in a sexual mood or an intimate mood. We go to put our arm around our wife, with a whisper in the ear, let's make love tonight. And
Yes.
we get the rejection, not tonight.
Yes.
What happens in that space then is we go back into our cave, we go back into our wound, and it gets harder for us to try that again. Now,
Mm.
if that happens 2 or 3 times, or 4 times, or 5 times, or after many weeks, months, or years, men tend to give up. And
Mm.
the words I hear often, it's not worth it because I just keep getting rejected.
Mm.
Because this is the mindset the men get into.
Yeah.
So for me, when I work with them, I say, I know you've been hurt, I know you have a wound, but you have to keep the passion alive. You've got to keep trying, even if it feels like rejection. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a bit of an old traditionalist. I really believe that it's the male energy that has to keep the nurturing going, and to keep the relationship alive in terms of surprise and dating and making and organizing. Because generically, again, it's
Yeah.
generally what women want. They want the man to be the one to come and give the surprise and the
Yeah,
date.
to lead. I mean, a lot
Yeah,
of women nowadays, they're natural born leader. I mean,
yeah,
me naturally being a very direct person, I like to lead, but sometimes I love being led.
yeah,
I'm tired to, leading all the time, and just like, whip husband, come on, lead this
It,
time.
yeah, it's part of the emotional makeup of male and female. The men do the leading and if you like, the penetrative stuff of getting things done, and then the woman's role is to open up and embrace and receive. I mean, we're even built genetically for that as well. The giving and the receiving.
Yeah.
Um, and I think from an energetic perspective, for men to get into that space would be my one top tip in terms of passion. Um, the other part of that is talking about that purpose. How do we get the relationship on purpose? What is it in the relationship where we can really make it purposeful? And one part of that purpose might be to be there to show the family or the community or friends what it's really like to be in deep love and deep relationship and deep passion.
Mm,
Purpose might be to have the most amazing romantic conscious relationship on the planet, but find some purpose in the relationship. I think
mm,
it's really important. And then finally, my final tip is please find joy in the relationship. Have fun, tickle, laugh, go to the funny movies, play silly games, bring some joy into the intimate, into the sexual, into the social. And I think it's really, really, really important to bring that purpose, passion, and joy into a relationship. And if it's not there, the other tip is to go to a therapist and find a way through it,
Yeah.
because it's really hard to do it ourselves sometimes. Go
Yes.
to the professional, go to yourself, come to me, go to somebody else, but please do go and get that help, get that support. Because if you live in a relationship for months or years and it hasn't got purpose, passion, or joy, it's a pretty sad affair.
That's right.
Pretty
And
sad.
some people may look elsewhere. That's the sad thing about it.
Yeah, yeah. And as you know, many do. But unfortunately, when people go and look elsewhere, they usually find, because they haven't got the inner purpose, passion, and joy in their own hearts or their own being, they get back into the same position, the same similar relationships where they're just caught up in that same old again. So they're
Yeah.
my three main tips: purpose, passion, joy. Get that in your relationship. Go and get some support if you need it. So yeah, that's
Beautiful.
yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much for sharing that.
Yeah. So that we can double our tips today, let's call it, double tip day. Maybe Ingrid, you'd like to share your top relationships in this space as well?
Yeah, definitely. So, because I give different tips in different podcasts, my tips today is on what to do when your love languages don't match with your partner. So, one of the member of my group, she actually asked this question. So, very, very good question. I would like to answer it here. So, the first step is to know and share with each other what your main language or language is or are, because some people can be bilingual or multilingual. So we have five, we have five major love languages: physical touch, acts of service, words of affirmation, giving gifts, and also spending quality time. So, for example, my main one is physical touch. Well, I guess it's very apt because I literally have touched thousands of people throughout my 22 years of being a spa therapist, or AKA Chief Relaxation Officer. And then words of affirmation. But I also feel loved when my husband spends more time with me and do things for me. And I also love it when he gives me gifts. But that doesn't happen very often. I guess giving gifts is definitely not my husband's love language, right? And tip number 2 is apply the ish principle. What is the ish principle? I remember watching one comedian on YouTube. Um, I think he is Polish or Danish, and his topic was how different Australian language is to the common English, such as ish, blue-ish, meaning it's kind of blue, but not so blue. You are angry-ish, meaning you're kind of angry, but not so angry that you can kill somebody. Right, so my point is, if your main one is physical touch, let's call it PT, but your partner's is not, for example, acts of service, let's call it AOS, then be more AOS-ish, meaning be more like her. So she can feel loved, and you show your show of love it's not lost in space,
Yes.
but but also not losing your identity. You are who you are, but you try to be ish, a bit more like her. And the same thing with her. You can suggest she can be a bit more PT-ish, hugging you, touching you, massaging you, so you feel loved and goosey, but not losing her identity. So that's my tip number 2. Tip number 3, during your check-in time, I just love having regular check-in time with my husband, so I just suggest that to my people as well. Make a point during that week that you have applied the 5 major love languages to shower her with love, just in case She missed them because her major love language is not the other ones, you know. For example, you have cooked for her, took the rubbish out for her, organized her birthday party, be present at her birthday party, gave her a birthday gift, gave her a big hug, and told her that you're so lucky to have her as your partner. So you see, service, 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 quality time, gift, touch, and words. Because her main love language is acts of service. So emphasize on the service, 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 and then do the other bits and communicate so nothing is missed. For example, you can ask, how did you like it when I told you that I'm so lucky to have you as my partner? So it's not being missed. So those are my 3 tips.
Thank you. And for the men out there, you imagine doing that and all the brownie points you're going to earn.
Sorry, say it again.
But just by doing that for us men, we earn all those amazing brownie points.
Oh, brownie points. Yes, I love brownie points.
I love my brownie points. Yeah, the only thing, Ingrid, is, you know, it takes me weeks and weeks and weeks to earn them, and I can lose them in 2 seconds.
That's women for you. Remember, we have tons of hormones going around in our body, and men only have what, like 2?
Supposedly.
Supposedly. We are complicated beings. We are. Sorry, men. So, people, we come to the fun part of the podcast. Mind you, we've been having a lot of fun along the way. So, Adrian sent me 2 statements. Number 1, Adrian has been chased by a rhino. Number 2, Adrian has been bitten by a dingo. All right, which one is true and which one is false? I will choose number 1 simply because it sounded a little bit more exotic and I like exotic things. What do you think?
Okay, so my true is yes, I was chased, but not just by 1 rhino. I was actually chased by 3 rhinos about 3 years ago in South Africa, in the game park. We walked around the corner with my group and the rangers, and there were 3 rhinos in the sand. And as we walked past, they jumped up and chased us. So I haven't been bitten by a dingo, but I have been bitten by a python. There we go.
Wow, and you're still alive.
And that's another story for another time.
That's another story. That's all right. We may have to schedule another podcast.
Yeah, but the rhino is very true. I spend a lot of time in Africa and in game parks, and I love it. So I've been chased by elephant, been chased by rhino, and yes, very thrilling, exotic, and at times.
Yeah. How did you get out of the chase?
Well, surprisingly, because rhinos are very short-sighted, you just duck behind a bush.
Yep.
And then from the rhino's perspective, you disappear because all they see is the bush.
Right.
So pretty easy to escape. As long as you're not in front of a rhino charging, 40 kilometers an hour, it's sort of semi-safe.
Okay. Cool. There you go. Learn something new every day.
So Ingrid, for you, I'd love to know a little bit about your true and a false for you.
Yep.
Yeah. So share with me your true and false.
Right. So Ingrid gave Mel B, aka Scary Spice, a variety of spa treatments. That's number 1. Or number 2, Ingrid gave Mel B's bodyguard a manzillion.
Ooh. Well, I know you love the the adventure, so I'm going to go for number 2.
The correct answer is actually number 1.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have given Mel B, Scary Spice, a variety of spa treatments, but in terms of number 2, well, I haven't met Mel B's bodyguard yet, but I actually do manzillion, and that's one of my specialty. Not everybody wants to do manzillion. For you who don't know what manzillion is, it's Brazilian, but for men.
Okay.
That's okay. A penis is a penis. You know, I've seen many penises before. That's all right.
Yeah. And what a great edge for men. You know, if you've never been in that space and
Yeah.
experienced something like that, maybe that would be just the thing to bring that passion and joy into the relationship. Who knows?
Exactly. Who
Never say
knows?
never. Never say never. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And typically, for men who are experiencing the menzilian, they can't be uh, slutty towards me anyway because it's not a massage. I guarantee you, waxing your bits, it's it's not a massage. It's not relaxing, but the result, your partner may love it.
Absolutely.
Ah,
It
there you go.
could be just what the relationship needs. Who knows?
Exactly, exactly.
Lovely.
So, last question, Adrian. What do you do to either relax or add raunchiness into your relationship?
Okay, so one of both. For my relaxation, I love to meditate. I've been meditating now for over 20 years. My daily routine. So I do that either playing dids, listening to music, or doing silent meditation. I've got a various few. To
Mm,
bring raunchiness into my relationship with my partner, I've been with my partner now for 16 years. Um,
yeah,
yeah. Um, I love to play on the edge a little bit in terms of my sexuality and intimacy
yeah.
and try not to keep things static and normal. So I like to play on the edge a little bit and be a bit tricksy, bring a bit of spice and energy into that space.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, just to keep it wild and alive. So I like to be a little bit on the wild side in my intimacy, sexuality, and in my life in general.
Yes.
So that's what I do to keep the raunchiness alive in that space. Um, Whether that means just, like we went to Dracula's on the Gold Coast 3 weeks ago for a friend's 60th birthday. And I raunched it up a little bit by, dressing my wife a little bit raunchily. I
Yeah.
got dressed up a bit raunchy. I had the lacy gloves on and the wig and, looked a bit sort of raunchy and sexy.
Yeah.
But just some crazy things. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Embrace your wild side.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So, men, take note. Don't be boring and be a bit wild. Yes.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
Lovely. So, beautiful people, thank you so much for watching our collaboration together. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Ingrid Galloway. And for sure, next week we will have another beautiful and awesome podcast guest in a different podcast episode. And Adrian, if people would like to connect with you and ask for your support, especially men, how can they keep in touch with you?
So the simplest way is just go to my website as
Yeah.
my name, adrianhanks.com. And
Right.
then from there you can contact me.
Yeah, wonderful. And people, if you would like to ask more relationship questions or have a chat with me and strengthen your relationship, you can go to my website as well, www.kahyangan.com.au. That is KAHYANGAN.com.au. And just request for a complimentary 30-minute chat with me. Okay, so thank you so much, Adrian, for coming to my website today. I've had a lot of fun, and hopefully you have fun too. And keep well and lots of love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.